Ron.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting tonight, November the 6th, 2014. First order of business will be our public hearings, and our first public hearing will be the Hometown Bakery. If Mr. Hamp, would you like to address that? Get us started off tonight. It's been a long time.
Yes, sir.
Like a 4-month hiatus.
Good evening, everyone. First item we have is a site plan approval request for Hometown Bakery. Site plan SP number 88. The property is located at 412 North Highway 47, and the property is zoned RC1 Planned Business District. First, I'd like to ask to make part of the public hearing record the municipal code by reference, the public hearing notice, and my planning and zoning report. On October 3rd, 2014, a request was filed for site plan approval for a bakery restaurant to be located at 412 North Highway 47. Per Appendix A, 3 commercial, G retail sales and service, 4 bakery, commercial or wholesale bakery with limited walk-in retail, 5 bakery retail trade, 16 food service walk-in, walk-up restaurants, walk-in, walk-up restaurants with drive-in and or drive-through. A conditional use permit is required. This site plan approval request has been submitted by the applicant along with the conditional use permit application, CUP 40, approval request as required per code.
Thanks, sir. Is there anyone tonight that would like to speak on behalf of at the public hearing time for the Hometown Bakery? Step to the podium, state your name.
Good evening, thank you. I'm Bart Berniking with Bart Berniking Design Build over in Troy. We're the ones that are doing the architectural, the design, et cetera, for the Hometown Bakery. I don't know how detailed you want me to get right now, but
You don't have to get too detailed now. We can do that in the open meeting.
Okay.
But if you just want to kind of, your name was the
Bart, B-A-R-T, Berniking, B-E-R-N-E-K-I-N-G.
And if anybody has questions at this time, we'll address that during the open meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
super, thank you.
Would anyone else like to address? Thank you, ma'am.
Hello,
Hi there. Hi.
I'm Melissa Stafford. I live at 411 Cherry Lane, right behind where the Hometown Bakery is going to be. And I do have some questions and concerns, like dumpsters. Are they going to be enclosed so I don't have to look at that all day long? And is it going to be a restaurant or just a bakery?
Okay.
So there's not going to be a restaurant? What are the business hours?
I think that was stated till 3.
4 a.m.
did
to 3 p.m.
4 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And now what about direction of traffic? I mean, there's going to be cars coming there early in the morning, lights coming through my house. Are they going to put a fence up to block the light coming from the headlights of the cars?
We don't have that on the plan right now, but we can address it.
Well, I would like to address it. That's why I'm here.
Okay. And we will definitely do that during the open meeting. And
Well, would you agree with me that would be fair that I don't have headlights coming in my home at early morning hours?
and those will be issues, I guess, that we will discuss at the open meeting and come to some kind of. Did you want to say something, Mr.
I
Hammond?
was just going to let her know that she can look at these renderings
Sure.
while we're waiting for the next part of the meeting, too.
Okay. All right.
And again, your name was Melissa.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, this is something that I'm going to have to look at on a 24-hour basis, not
Okay.
3 to 4 or whatever it is.
And your name was Melissa
Stafford.
Stafford, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your address?
411 Cherry Lane.
Thank you.
I'm right across the alley from this
Right.
business.
Right next to.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, I also
Okay.
have something else.
Go ahead.
Since there's going to be increased traffic, are you planning on putting a stoplight there at Banner and 47? Because the traffic right now is such that it's hard to get on and off of Banner. And it's also dangerous for the kids in the area, right there at that alley at Banner and the back alley to this property. Kids come and go all, in between there all the time, and we see near misses as it is right now. So there needs to be some sort of traffic issue addressed.
And that's with MoDOT? we have no control over the stoplights at those types of situations, but that would be something that we
What
could
about there
discuss.
at Banner in that alley? How about a stop sign or something there at the alley so people will stop before they proceed on to Banner? Which they're supposed to do, but they don't.
Stop signs inside the city limits on city streets, those can be petitioned through the police department and the board of aldermen,
Mm-hmm.
and they issue ordinances to put those up, and they do that frequently at the request of citizens. So
Okay,
if that's something that you feel is necessary, we don't have the authority to
Mhm.
take that up, but public
Okay.
safety does.
all right. All right, if you can address the dumpster issue, and I noticed when I heard that they were going to put their business in there, I've made a couple of passes by their current locations, and often there's empty containers sitting outside the back doors. That's something else. I don't want to look at that stuff. I think if they're going to have a business there, they should be courteous enough to the neighbors to take their trash somewhere other than the back door.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Mhm.
concerns.
I'll bring it
Appreciate
back to you.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak tonight on behalf of this? Yes, sir.
Tom Massman, I live on Banner Avenue. My concern was, I guess, similar to hers with looking at the site plan or drawings. I thought maybe it was going to be presented tonight. Is that not the case?
They will be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That, in the open meeting, we'll have the plans available.
Okay.
Is that what
That'd be
you're-
my concern, you know. Back when I owned property along Highway 47 and beyond that, it was always conforming. I was curious as to what they look, you know, the plans look like.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Massman.
Did you want to see these?
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak tonight? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing for this site plan for the Hometown Bakery and open up the conditional use for the Hometown Bakery as well.
This is a conditional use permit approval request for the Hometown Bakery, CUP-40. Property is located at 412 North Highway 47. Property is zoned RC1, Planned Business District. Once again, I'd like to ask to make part of the public hearing record the municipal code by reference, the public hearing notices, and my planning and zoning report. On October 3rd, 2014, a request was filed for a conditional use permit approval for a bakery restaurant to be located at 412 North Highway 47. This conditional use permit application has been submitted along with the site plan permit approval request as required by code.
Thank you. Anyone to speak on the conditional use permit tonight? Hearing none, we'll close that public hearing and open up our next public hearing with the downtown apartments for site plan 89.
This is a site plan approval request for the downtown apartments, SP 89. Property is located at 211 to 219 East Boonslick. The property is zoned C2 General Commercial. Once again, I'd like to ask them, part of the public hearing record is the municipal code by reference, the public hearing notices, and my planning and zoning report. On October 7th, 2014, a request was filed for site plan approval for apartments to be located at 211 through 219 East Boonslick. Per Appendix A, 1 residential, A household living, 6 apartments. A conditional use permit is required. This site plan approval request has been submitted by the applicant along with the conditional use permit CUP 41 approval request as required by code.
Does anyone speak on behalf of the downtown apartments site plan?
I will excuse myself from the dice, and I will also be excusing myself when we discuss this,
Thank you, Mrs. Cook.
because I'm one of the applicants,
Okay, thank you.
so. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions at this time?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else speak tonight for or against? If not, we'll close that public hearing and open up the conditional use permit for the same complex.
This is a conditional use permit approval request for the downtown apartments, CUP-41. Property is located at 211 through 219 East Boonslick. Property is zoned C2 General Commercial. Once again, I'd like to ask that part of the public hearing record is the municipal code by reference, the public hearing notices, and my planning and zoning report. On October 7th, 2014, a request was filed for a conditional use permit approval for apartments to be located at 211 through 219 East Boonslick. Per Appendix A, this conditional use permit approval request has been submitted along with the site plan approval request as required by code.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp. Anyone to speak on the conditional use permit? Hearing none, we'll close that public hearing and open up our regular planning and zoning commission meeting for tonight. And the first order of business will be our minutes from the last meeting we had, which was back in the summer, July the 3rd, 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the July 3, 2014 meeting as submitted.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mr. Schwab to approve the minutes as submitted. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
I abstain, I was absent.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
I will abstain, I was absent.
And Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 with 2 abstentions and 1 absent. First order of business tonight will be the Hometown Bakery site plan, number 88. Sounds like we have plenty of questions tonight to answer, and we're going to pull it up on the screen for everybody to be able to see.
Yeah, Hometown Bakery. Another site plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at the point at which we ask questions we need to.
Good evening again. My name is Bart Bernicking with Bart Bernicking Design Build from Troy, Missouri. We're here on behalf of Hometown Bakery to relocate his existing business, which is over in Truesdale, to I think it's I can't remember this address, 412? 412. Highway 47. The current existing house is roughly about 1,265 square feet. We're going to, we're proposing to add additional 1,051 square feet to it. Part of the whole process of this is the owners wanted to maintain the existing house, the architectural elements of the old house. They're going to move a bakery into this. We wanted to keep and maintain kind of a cottage style look. 4 or 5 elements of this is the front porch area, where the partial curved roof is on the front porch. Part of it is the where the little quarter round windows are on each side of the fireplace chase. The overall appearance of the house has been run down, there's no doubt about it. Our intentions are to retuck point the entire house, all new roof, all the exterior trim is going to be probably done with like a James Hardy type siding, so it's paintable, but yet it's maintenance free for a long time, just to get away from putting aluminum wrapping on things. What's good about this is the addition, as well as the trash dumpster as well, is all the brick company, believe this or not, still makes that brick that's on that house from however old this house is, which is really neat. So that's when we decided to go ahead with the addition, going to a flat roof and reusing the buying new brick for it and doing a full brick addition to it as well. The other elements of this house actually is the living room, the interior of it, which has no concern maybe on the exterior, but the interior of the living room has got like a barrel vault living room ceiling to it. It has real wide base casing and doors and things like this. So we're wanting to maintain a lot of that. The house does have a couple of problems. We've got a structural problem on the north foundation wall. It's caving in. We've got a foundation company come in and repair that, along with the brick on the exterior. We've got termites in there in 2 or 3 spots, so I mean, we've got some interior things we have to do, along with structurally as well. I don't know how much more detail you want me to get, but we're gonna, I mean, it's all gonna be all new parking lot. I think everything else is per the ordinance as far as the landscaping plans and things like this. We did hire Lewis and Beatty, and Bart is here from Lewis and Beatty with any questions regarding the site. I'm mainly building and overall design. He's more of the site guy. To answer, I think her name was Melissa, to answer her question, I'm not sure what she's seen over the old bakery or whose trash she's seen, but this will be a full brick enclosure that matches the existing house, like we said before. If there is a site problem that we want to address, our exit is on that, coming out of that alley. So putting a fence up back there to stop headlights is going to be impossible, but we would be willing to put one on the other side of that alley maybe, or something like that, like a site-proof PVC fence. Myself and the owners are both nice neighbors, so if we're going to have to address something like that, we will.
That was going to be my question, and I had the same thought, that the fence across the back line where the ingress egress is would not stop the lights.
No.
So I think we'd have to make sure that the city could allow a fence across the alley, and then if Mrs. Stafford or the other neighbors wanted that solution, I wanted to know whether that would be something that the owners would be willing to do.
Sure.
Per code, it would have to be 27 feet off the pavement.
27 feet
Off the
off
pavement.
of the alley pavement?
Off the pavement unless there was a variance.
Okay, so it's,
That would put it up in their yard.
right, not very, that's probably
might
not
not
a
be,
realistic.
Isn't there an existing fence there now? Or a
I don't think along the
building?
alley
It's
there is.
chain link, and right now it's chain, you're talking about across the alley.
Yeah.
And it's all chain link, basically, I think, down there now, and there's a garage. So.
But that's not 27 feet off. is it?
No, it's right on the edge of the alley. Is there, when it comes to a variance, could we, I mean, that's what we do, I guess. We
The Board
could,
of
we
Adjustment
could,
grants variances.
events, we could see about getting, a fence. That's what I was looking at too myself, was the fact that I thought when the cars coming through there, that some type of privacy fence needed to be set up there for the lights and stuff.
Is the 27-foot requirement because it's a roadway?
It's just part of the fence code. It's got to be a minimum of 27 feet off the pavement.
True. Yeah, I don't know that anybody knows what's sitting there right now. If it's chain link, we could always put the slats in the chain link, and then brought up too, we can always do some heavy landscaping across there somehow too, if we can't go, if moving forward, if we can't get a variance on the fence possibly, I guess we have to do that at next month's meeting or something like that maybe, but.
Like an evergreen, like a berm?
Mhm.
How does landscaping fit into along pavement, Mr. Hamp?
They've exceeded the landscaping requirements.
I mean, on the,
For
across
us.
the alley, so, if, in lieu of a fence, if we can't put a fence near that alley because of the pavement setback requirement, would a berm with pine trees or, some type of evergreens to help block
Yes, you
the
can bring that
headlight?
up to the property line.
That could go to the
Usually
property
it's
line.
within a 10-foot buffer of the property line.
So that type of buffer, would that be something that, as owners, you'd be open to?
Yeah, could we take, since the landscaping ordinance, the way it is along 47 is so heavy,
Mhm.
and I'm all into landscaping too, so I like that, but
Right.
can we take some of that and use it for back there? And I'm just thinking about dollar signs here, a few $1,000s for site-proof PVC fence is not gonna bother my owners any, but we get into tens of thousands, that's a whole different ballgame.
Right, right.
So you're saying trade out some of the landscaping on the plan for
Some, I
that?
mean, I'm not, yeah.
But you've pretty much doubled what had to be done on the plan, correct?
Depending on which code you read, but we had, so we went.
Oh, that's right, we're in between.
Yeah, so with the RC1 code, we made sure that we met the shrubs exceeded one interpretation and met the other interpretation of the code.
And I take it, I see here on the drawing, but to just address the dumpster is enclosed and it's enclosed in a brick, three sides brick. Is it gonna have a gate on the front?
Right,
or to
the
meet
the front will be
ordinance?
an iron gate, and it'll have a PVC site-proof panels.
And the access, is there access off of, it looks like off of 47 directly and then also exiting out into the alleyway?
Right.
And just for clarification, section 420090 fence regulations, RC1 zoning district, on C, no fence shall be located in the street right away on the exterior lot line. A fence shall not be any nearer than 27 feet from the street curb or gutter. That's where that comes from.
Is an alley an exception to a street? I know there are, with alleys, they're viewed differently than city streets for a lot of other things. Just
And
this,
I would probably venture to say that most alleyways are lined with fence.
Yeah, we just had a matter of fact, up at the other corner, the gentleman who bought the house down there just got finished putting up a privacy fence right there it's right to the alley that comes, and he did his whole property. So I just wonder if an alley maybe is a little different than,
I'll verify that.
you know.
yeah, I'm wondering if there's an interpretation question there that, if that fence code specifically applies to streets and only streets, but alleys are viewed differently. I think the fence is a better solution, and it's completely opaque, where trees, first of all, they have to survive, and they're not going to be as opaque.
I have a question.
Can you step up to the microphone so?
If they're going to exit their traffic in the alley, then that poses a question in the wintertime of snow removal. Currently, I don't think the snowplows go down the alley. So is my property going to have to take the risk of people sliding into my garage from their property?
That risk exists even if there's not snow.
There's no public traffic or commercial traffic coming into that alley right now.
From the bank there is.
I don't live next to the bank.
But the point being that there is commercial traffic into that alley. It's not at your backyard, but there is commercial traffic into that alley.
Doesn't the bank also have an exit onto 47?
Yeah, but
Not all of their traffic exits to the alley.
And this plan shows an ingress egress onto 47 as well.
So why the need to exit onto the alley?
Well, that's the plan design that they've submitted.
Okay, can that be changed so that the traffic doesn't exit through the alley?
Not really. It's only a .39 acre lot.
Mhm.
By the time we do the addition and the required parking for the city, it's just
So it becomes a commercially used alley. So is the city responsible for removing that snow?
I don't know who removes the snow.
I'm sure that, I'm just guessing here, I'm sure that the owner of the bakery would be keeping that clean. I mean, if I was in my business, I would, but.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to come off as sounding harsh or angry. I'm glad that the business is coming in there. I just want it to be done to where it doesn't diminish the quality of my living or my home's value.
What would you prefer as the solution to a fence versus landscaping?
It doesn't matter to me as long as it does block the light coming in and out. It doesn't matter.
But you don't have a preference?
I
on
don't.
it? Okay.
Whatever they prefer, whatever's the best for them.
Sure.
That was snow removal was the next one.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you.
And ma'am, when this is presented to the Board of Aldermen, I'll make sure the Director of Public Works is in attendance at the
Okay,
meeting,
that
and
would
he
be
can answer
helpful.
your question specifically, because he's responsible for all the streets
Okay.
within the city limits.
Yeah, I'm Kirk Wilshire. I'm the owner of the bakery.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to address, obviously, there's a concern with our neighbors, and our goal is to be a good neighbor. That's, and our business to be successful and part of the community. Being a good neighbor is the most important thing, I think. So any issues that come up as far as Bart was talking about, putting up a fence or we're discussing now, whatever it may be and necessary, I'm more than willing to be reasonable and try to find a way. That was a concern I figured out would happen right away because it comes right in and the lights will be shining and we're open at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. It's always dark. So I can appreciate that concern. The garbage too, I think what she might have seen in the back of the place that we are now are crates and buckets, empty buckets. We're very concerned about keeping a clean and a nice-looking location, even in the alley in the back there, next to the storage unit. So anything that our neighbors have a problem with, I'm more than willing to be a good neighbor and a good part of the community here. So we'll address any concerns that the neighbors may have in a reasonable way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Open up for questions for you guys and gals. As far as you're concerned, all the letters that were presented to us and all the questions that got answered?
Yeah, and just the one note in my report to you. The Director of Public Works has reviewed and approved this site plan request for items regarding the Public Works Department with the condition that the applicant is aware additional improvements may be required to the existing pavement within the alley and that they'd be responsible for correcting any stormwater issues to surrounding properties created by this project. The report from Lewis and Beatty does not show that there'd be a major increase where it may cause problems to the neighbors across the alley, but a site visit, guy was concerned in case some of the extra water coming off the concrete, if it would cause a problem, just to make sure that they was aware that, you know, they would need to address it, since there's no existing problems right now. And I believe they were aware of that. The calculations don't predict a problem.
Right.
Guy just standing there, he thought there's a possibility of it, and he'd rather share it with everybody now than once it's built.
Thank you, Mr. Hamp.
Be nice if we had clarification on the fence alley issue. That would make it easier.
Is there any place in our code that even, like in our definitions, that says something about an alley?
Let me go back and search.
That we might even be able to make a, because like you said, we can decide
You can make
either
it
next
in the
night and then make a
of the
condition
site
and
plan
then,
and the condition of the conditional use.
and then by the time it comes in front of the Board of Aldermen, they can have all those answers before they make final decisions.
Parking, one-way streets.
think alley and streets have different definitions, don't they?
That's what I was
What's
trying to
the
find
other
real
one?
quick. The alley is a street that's 20 feet or less, but it didn't say if it didn't specifically say if it excluded the requirements.
The fence there anyway is going to require permission by the homeowner because it's their property, correct? And everybody that surrounds that fence would need to give permission as well. If I remember correctly, when I wanted to put a fence up, I had to ask everybody around me its permission.
Are you on a alley?
I wasn't on an alley, but I was in the city limits, and per the fence code, I had to ask everybody around me
I don't
permission.
know who told you that, but that's not true.
I can give you a name offline.
Okay. I can guarantee I didn't give you that information.
It was not you.
Thank you. The definition of alley says any street with a roadway of less than 20 foot in width.
So it defines it as a street.
Yeah, but what's the definition of a street? It'll give you a definition of whatever the distance is on that as well, so.
Well, I know is this summer, the guy up the street just put his fence in, so he must have got permits, and I mean, that's right on the
Right.
corner.
It wasn't a replacement of a prior
No, he
existing
put
fence.
I think he put a whole new fence all the way around his place.
And the bank has a fence back there too, don't they?
That's right along the alley.
That's right along the alley
That's
as well.
along their alley, yeah.
And that's not 27 feet over there.
No.
I think, just my thinking of the alleys, most of them have a fence of some sort on one or both sides.
And every town, and especially if you go into the city, where alleys are common, where you have access to the rear of the residence, you don't have driveways in on the main street, the driveways come in off the alleys, you almost always see fencing along the alleys.
Well, I'm not on the Board of Adjustment, but I would be inclined to even consider, I don't know if it'd be possible or not,
I think you
changing
can
the
improve it
definition or something to accommodate that, because it seems to
on the
make
site
sense.
plan.
What's that?
They may be able to approve it on their site plan. I can verify with Mr. Graville. They may be able to approve it as part of the site plan approval.
Well, it,
Without it.
We had to have approved it with Jonesburg State Bank, because it's there and it was part of the original plan.
well, we could make the recommendation with the fence, and since it has to go before the Board of Aldermen prior to it being finalized anyway, that would give them some time to determine at the city whether that was a viable option or not. And I would make that a motion.
And I'll second it.
Any other questions right now? Well, I'll just do this. We have a motion by Mrs. Scott, second by Mr. Costello, to approve the site plan with an addition of the fence along the alleyway,
Across the alley.
across the alley, to help the neighbors. And, but then that will give the Board of Aldermen that chance to verify that that can be done before they approve it at their step level. Any questions other than that?
Just for clarification, the fence would only be the length of their property? Just the
The length of the bakery's property.
going along the alleyway?
Anywhere that the light, deemed necessary, where the light comes out of if you make a right or a left, I guess, right?
Because I
I
think
would-
that's going to include more
I
than
think
one
if it
owner.
went along their
Yeah.
property line, or the distance of their property line, that ought to pretty well
Right.
cover all of that.
It should.
Yes,
But it will include more than one owner, so we'll have
Right.
Right, it's
to
two
make
lots.
sure we have permission
If-
before the
And
next
I'd-
meeting.
Well, I'd like to also point out that, in my opinion, the fence should, the property owners across the alley should have the option that if their property is affected and has the fence, that they should have the option for the fence to run the entire length of their back alley property line.
Rather than halfway.
I don't think any of us would want a fence that ran 2/3 of our property line and stopped.
Mr. Corman?
Yeah, for the record, Bart Corman with Lewis and Beatty,
Thank you.
working on the site plan. I'm not an attorney and our attorney's not here, but I would probably recommend that you also, in that condition, with written permission from those adjacent property owners, because my client can only do so much, and we don't want to have a requirement that he needs to put a fence there, and then the landowner kicks him off the property and we have a trespass issue.
Right.
And so I think that would be probably a smart thing to do.
I would like to amend my motion to say with the property owner's permission and that the fence will extend the full length of the adjacent property owner's property.
My second applies there.
Did you get that change, Mr. Kemp?
Oh, yeah. Randy did.
Because I know you guys are going to be the ones that's discussing this at the next meeting. So we're all on the same page, that we all understand the same lingo here. I just appreciate the fact that everybody's working together, though, for the good of the community, too, and that our constituents' needs are being met as well, because I know that you guys are good neighbors, and we appreciate that.
And
Any
Bart,
questions?
you'd probably be able to update the drawings for the board meeting to show it over there once we know we have permission across the
Yes.
street.
Sure. Yes.
And just for clarification, when is the next Board of Alderman meeting?
First Tuesday of, no, third Tuesday of this month.
Right.
The 18th.
18th and 18th.
Be the 18th.
November the 18th?
Yeah. Yep, the 18th.
Just to let our folks know that, so this will come back up again on November the 18th in front of the Board of Aldermen, and the Public Works Director will be there as well, you said, to address any issues on that regard as well that they can just discuss. Any other questions or comments at this time? We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Mr. Pullum?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes?
Mr. Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
And Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0 with one absent. And next order of business will be the conditional use permit.
The conditional use of permit approval for the same property for the Hometown Bakery, CUP 40, located at 412 North Highway 47.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the conditional use permit with the same conditions Mrs. Scott articulated in the site plan.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Costello, second by Mrs. Scott, to approve the conditional use permit for the Hometown Bakery with the additions that were added in the previous motion. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote?
Mr. Pullum?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes?
Mr. Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes?
And Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0 with one absent. And once again, that will come in front of the Board of Aldermen on November the 18th. And thank you for all your kind words tonight and working together.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next order of business will be the Downtown Apartments Site Plan 89. And I know we have a couple of folks that will be stepping down.
I will be stepping in.
And I will too.
Mrs. Scott and Mr. Costello will both be abstaining during this time. They both have interest in this property, so after excusing those folks, we'll open up the Downtown Apartments Site Plan for 89.
This is a site plan approval request for apartments to be located at 211, 219 East Boone Slick. And as shown in your packet, basically the majority of this building is already apartments. The lower level was commercial. And due to the lack of need for commercial property here on Main Street, they're wanting to convert them to apartments, to the efficiency apartments, and they do meet the minimum square foot requirements for efficient apartments.
And all the requests that anyone had has been
Yes,
dealt with?
everything on my comment letters have been addressed.
That sounded like it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the site plan as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Kohler, second by Mr. Cullum, to approve the site plan as submitted. Does anyone have any questions for anyone at this time?
No.
None? Roll call vote?
Mr. Barton?
Yes?
Mr. Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
And Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 with 2 abstentions and 1 absent. Next order of call will be the conditional use permit 41 for the same address.
Yes, it's the conditional use permit approval request for the property located at 211-219 East Boone Slick, the downtown apartments project.
And once again, everything was met through the questions that we've discussed.
Yes.
I couldn't find anything in it.
I thought I put a response in
No, I think it was, yeah.
there. Yeah, it's in
I'm
the
just
letter
saying,
back.
I didn't notice anything unusual.
No.
I think the applicant was pretty savvy on the
Yeah, it
understanding
was
how the
very
program
well
works.
presented.
I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit as submitted as well.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kohler, second by Mr. Deitch to approve the conditional use permit as submitted for the same address. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote?
Mr. Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mr. Kohler?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0 with 2 abstention and 1 absent. And that, once again, will come in front of the Board of Aldermen on November the 18th. Thank you. At this time, we'll close the meeting and open up the Planning and Zoning Officer's report to Mr. Hamp, if you have anything for the good of the group, and I'm sure you do, since we haven't seen each other for 4 months.
Yeah.
That's true. I have been asked today to put the assisted living facility application, site plan approval and subdivision approval request that we received a couple months ago back on. They had tabled it before it ever came to, before you guys. That's part of why the last 2 meetings were canceled. So they've got that, so it'll be back on for December. It's on South 47 across from Villa de Shane Lane, assisted living facility. And there'll be a variance request for some setbacks at the corner of South Side, I believe, and 47. They want to try to put a house on one of the small existing city lots. And having trouble meeting the rear yard setbacks, but I think it'll work out.
It's a house that's going to be a assisted living facility?
No, that's a separate one.
Oh,
The
okay.
house- The house is a separate application.
How big is the assisted living facility supposed to be?
Off the top of my head, I think it's like 10,000 square foot.
So that's going to be on the east side of the road there?
Yes, right there south of Warrior.
Right.
There's 2 5-acre tracts.
Mhm.
They're on the southern 5-acre tract, and they're wanting to buy 1.66 acres of that 5 acres. So first they have to do the subdivision approval, so they have a legal lot before they can ask for the site plan approval. But they're gonna run it all through at the same time.
Anything else?
That's pretty good. We've got 5 house starts this year, which is a record for the last couple of years. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I think we used to get about 30.
It's a record since I've been here. Let me rephrase that.
Maybe I caused the slide the first time I decided to build a house, everything went in there.
What about the old Kentucky Fried Chicken?
That gentleman has contacted the city, and he's been cleaning up and prepping it. I'm not sure exactly what his plans are. Nothing has been presented to me on what they're doing, but he was just making sure if he needed any special permits or anything to clean it up and repaint it, which he did not. It fall under maintenance.
Just curious, given the current color of the building.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not heard nothing. I don't know if Michelle, Economic Development, has heard anything. If she has, she don't share anything till it's ready to come out in the paper.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments for the good of the group? So we do have a meeting for December then?
Yes, we do.
I'm coaching basketball again, so be ready. I don't know if I have a game or not, so I'll have to check into that. So. Nothing else? Good seeing y'all. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Deach, second by
Second.
Mr. Costello. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming out. Have a good evening.